So this begins the sessions on melanoma. There are 10 important local features or dermoscopic structures to aid in the diagnosis of melanoma. These include an atypical network, focal streaks, which includes both pseudopods and radial streaming, atypical dots and globules. These can be located peripherally, they can be red, they can be irregular in shape and size. A negative pigment network, shiny white lines, also known as crystalline structures, visible only with polarized dermoscopy. A blotch, which is off-central, also called eccentric pigmentation. Gray dots, granules, peppering in flat areas, which are also called regression structures. A blue-white veil over the raised area. And finally, vascular structures. We're going to be focusing on today melanomas on sun-damaged skin. Pattern 1 are focal islands of pigmentation with focal structureless areas towards the center. And here we see this very subtle melanoma on sun-damaged skin. And what you see here are these islands of pigmentation at the periphery with focal structureless areas towards the center. And you can see that these center areas are almost punched out with this pigmentation at the periphery. The specific structures include dots irregularly distributed, some prominent structures at the periphery. Here we see some angulated lines which consist of gray dots granules, as well as this depigmented area or scar-like depigmentation. In this example, the features are subtle. We again have the islands of pigmentation more prominent at the periphery, and you can see these faint structureless areas predominantly centrally located. The most important structures include this atypical network and these dots or gray dots which are irregularly distributed. You can also see that there are multiple colors. There's some nuances of gray and light brown and dark brown, and it has a reticular homogeneous disorganized pattern. In this case, again, we have these islands of pigmentation more prominent at the periphery with some subtle structureless areas centrally located. At one end, we have this atypical network with gray dots and granules, and we have some brown dots irregularly distributed. And these are the hallmarks of melanomas on sun-damaged skin. Pattern 2. This has also been called the angulated line pattern. And here we have an example of this subtle melanoma on sun-damaged skin. And what we can see here are these angulated lines forming early polygons. The next pattern consists of a tan structureless area, and sometimes there is granularity. In this particular case, you can see that it has this tannish, this orangish brown, relatively structureless area, and perhaps there are a few globules that are irregularly distributed. The final type of pattern is called a lentigo-like pattern because it has features which overlap a solar lentigo. So in this particular case, it's a broad lesion, and we can see that there are some fine lines slightly curved, which is the hallmark of a lentigo. There are some brown dots, which are irregularly distributed, and some angulated lines. In this case, very subtle, but again, we see these fine lines, slightly curved, and a couple angulated lines. And it has features which overlap with a lentigo, in this instance, a melanoma on sun-damaged skin. Thank you for your attention.